good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the Miss Fin Show. I am your host, Miss Fins. Thank you so much, guys, for coming through. I really do appreciate each and every single one of you guys for coming through. We got a special guest, and if you can't tell by the title there, then I guess you gotta read it again. But we have a special guest today, man. This is one of the most influential players in Dolphins history, guys. I'm super excited to go ahead and kind of give you guys the opportunity to see this. But if you know what I'm gonna say, you know what I'm gonna ask, hit that like button for us. Let everybody know that we are live. Always, always, always. Thank you so much, guys. Also, too, you already know with this family friendly. So let's go ahead and keep it clean and let's be kind to each other. Debate the points, not the person. And as always, guys, if you can always find Miss Finch Monday through Friday, every single Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. Eastern. So go ahead and take a look at it, as well as Wednesdays at 8 p.m. on League Wide Wednesday with my co-host, Mr. Colin, color commentary. We also have guess what? Membership, guys. If you want to go ahead and support the channel, become a member, definitely go ahead and support the channel. Shout out to all of the channel members, man. You guys really make a huge difference for the channel. And having you here, it's so amazing. So thank you so much, guys, for coming through and becoming members and rejoining the channel. As you can see, this is our special interview with the one, the only Mr. Richmond Webb, ladies and gentlemen. I don't have to tell you much. I mean, listen, this man came out of um, Texas, from what I can see. He went to Texas and I am, obviously. He played for the Dolphins for pretty much his career. He took a little pit stop over there as for the Bengals, but we don't really count that. It's all about the Dolphins, obviously. Two-time team, first team All Pro, ladies and gentlemen. Two-time second team All Pro, seven-time Pro Bowler, ladies and gentlemen. The NFL's 1990s All Decades team. I mean, the rookie of the year for his high school and obviously Miami Dolphins honor roll. Our future Hall of Famer. Yes, you heard me say here, ladies and gentlemen. We have to, just like we did and push for Zach Thomas, we have to push for him to be a Hall of Famer because, we all know that he is. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only Mr. Richmond Webb.
Good morning, Miss Phins. How you doing, lady?
Oh, I'm doing well, Mr. Richard, and yourself?
Oh, it's all good. We up. So yeah, we up. I'm
Hey,
good. I'm
I
good.
I know it's early. I know it's early, but you know
A
what?
little bit,
Gets the
but
juices pumping. It gets the juices pumping.
I got my
So
coffee,
thank
so
you.
we good. Don't even worry about it. Yeah,
Awesome,
we rolling.
awesome, guys. We're gonna have a great show. I have a few questions for Mr. Richmond. We're gonna talk about his time, obviously when he was here, so you guys have an idea what we're doing, his opinion of the team, how we're doing so far, and then obviously towards the end we'll be doing a little Q&A session that you guys see at the very top of the chat, the instructions of how to do it, so that we can have a flow of the show, guys. But again, thank you so much for coming through, ladies and gentlemen. But before we start, Mr. Webb, please tell us how you're doing overall. How's life and what's new in your life that you're doing? Any special projects or anything like that you're involved in?
No, I don't have nothing on my honeydew list now. So Thursday gonna be a good day. The wife ain't got nothing for me to do. So, but no, other than that, everything is good. It's a few days past Monday, so I think everybody's recovered, and I'm sure we'll get into that. But no, I don't have no complaints. Looking forward to the weekend
Awesome.
and the next game up. So no, everything is good.
That's awesome. That's good to hear. Okay. Well, listen, I know there's some people that this is probably the first time they've ever gotten a chance to kind of see you. So obviously you are a literal Dolphins living legend. I mean, I got to meet you. You got to see my mom and my brother. It was awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, he
Yeah.
is literally a giant teddy bear. And when I say giant, I mean he's like
Mm.
12 feet tall if you're like next to him. So talk to us. How was it when you were playing for us and covering our greatest quarterback of all time, sir?
It was, I think anybody that gets an opportunity to live out their childhood dream is it's amazing. I mean, um, growing up in Dallas, of course, I was a Cowboys fan, but I always wanted to play in the NFL. And then, having an opportunity coming out of A&M, and my prayer was, Lord, send me somewhere that's warm. And I ended up in Miami, drafted by great coach Shula. And then, after I got drafted, like, yes, because, I had seen Marino, Duper, because watched Monday Night Football when I was in college. And, just seeing how those guys played. And I knew a little bit about Miami, but not like I did, the Cowboys. But I knew they were a good team. And I definitely knew about Don Shula because I held him in high regard with, like, Tom Landry. There was a few coaches in the NFL that just kind of stood out and separated themselves from, and Coach Shula was one of them. And then having the honor to play for him and then be mentored. And, I think the thing that people don't know about Coach Shula is that's why he was so successful. And why a lot of his players are successful is because he taught us, to give back. Uh, Even after life after football, some of the stuff that I learned from him, I still apply in my life today. And you know, like when he left the Dolphins with the steakhouses and businesses, he just kept the same plan. So it didn't matter. It was like I plug and play it over here, plug and play, and working. It was a success. So I owe him a tremendous amount for getting the opportunity and this and that. But yeah, Miami is the spot. That's it.
Well, the greatest football team, that's for sure.
That is it.
Oh,
You ain't gonna
but
get no argument from me.
yeah, exactly. Listen, and I know this is great because one thing that as fans, for us, we don't get a shot to play like you got a shot to play in the league, but we still get to at least be here and kind of see it. So let's get into this. Let's get into this regime, if you will, and kind of walk
Mhm.
me through what you saw from what would be like maybe your top three differences that you saw from the regime of last year being the first year with McDaniel, and then your top three things that you've seen improvement upon this year. Like what would you say the differences between last year and this year are in the actual team?
Uh, well, I think it's easy for me. Tua's healthy this year. Uh, from last year to this year, the offensive line, even though we've played musical chairs, they performed a lot better than they did um, last year. Still a concern because we just lost Connor Williams and Teron Armstead has
Hmm.
been in it. We still got some some issues. And then the defense, I think bringing in Coach Fangio made a huge difference. I think it was a couple games we possibly could have won last year. Now that we got him, the defense is coming together, and you can see it made a huge impact. So just from last year to this year, those first three things jump off the top of my head.
I like that. Yeah, I mean, I have to agree. I think one of the major ones with, this has been a concern for a lot of fans is to his health, because he hasn't played a full season. Knock on wood. Every time I say I'm like, I'm knocking on every little piece of wood I have in
Yeah.
my office, but it's good to see him that he was able to take care of himself and get that jujitsu in and do the training he did in the off season to improve his body, improve his play and also be able to protect himself because that was a huge concern in his career here. So I'm glad to see that. So I absolutely have to agree with you. And I love that you mentioned the O line, and I love what you said with the musical chairs because I have to continue to remind fans it's like, guys, we haven't had our number one O line the entire season. But we've been able to, and shout out to Butch Berry, for him to be able to still get the guys that we do have and our backups to actually be able to still implement great protection there for Tua. And also it goes into Tua too, being able to manage the pocket too. I always say they gotta surf together. The
Yep.
offensive line helps the quarterback, and the quarterback helps his offensive line. So for me, Butch Berry, I mean, my God, he's performed miracles with I call it the transformer O line.
Hmm.
But you have to think and look at it. I mean, we literally we've been changing them every single week. I can't even
Yeah.
recall not one week that we've had our actual starting O line. Not even week one. It's kind of crazy there. And I love that you mentioned the defense with Fangio because it is, it's a new system, but it
Hmm.
allows for our guys to be able to play freely and still be able to lock down when need be. So those are three great points. I have to agree with you on that one. So thank you for that. Let me start with, because obviously you said a lot there. Let me start with
Okay.
the defense. Now
Okay.
that you mentioned Fangio, having him here, having him establish the defense, any particular players that you would say stand out for you that make a huge difference? It could be old players too. It doesn't necessarily have to be new pieces that you see that they've actually made a huge difference and improvement this year.
Well, I think the thing with his defense, I think it's complicated, and I think it took the players probably 4 or 5 weeks before they really got adjusted to his system and really tried to understand uh, what what he was trying to do or what he was trying to get them to do. So now I think they have that, but like you say, injuries definitely affected some of it. Though Jalen Ramsey, he got hurt early on, and he wasn't. And then Cater Cole, who stepped in, he's normally a slot guy, but I hats off to him. He moved out there and did what was asked of him and the best he could. So you know, uh, we just lost Baker for a little bit. I don't know if it's for the whole season. Um, and then our field general, our safety. Um,
Holland.
Drawing a blank here. Holland.
Hmm.
He's missed a couple games with a knee injury. So, like you say, we're not at full strength, but we got guys that's stepping up in the right places. But I think, and then shout out to Siler Wilkes, the D line. I mean, they seem like they've been rejuvenated or something. I know Wilkes is going through his contract deal or whatever. Maybe it's after the deal, but he's really, I
Hmm.
think, really understand it, grasp it, and he's been making plays. So I'm just happy when like they're having fun, and then they're shutting down. But you can see it's definitely a difference, and it's coming together at the right time.
That's awesome, man. I mean, you touched on several points, and seeing some of our younger players like Holland, taking command of the defense the way that he has and the way he's progressed. I have to agree. Um, and now with Fangio, so having somebody that has such experience and being able to utilize them all over the place, if you will, that should be able to develop Holland even more to where he has been. I like that. I like that. I would say also to having that veteran presence. I know some
Yeah,
people may not understand. I actually think that losing Jerome Baker, even though I hear it all the time from the fan base. Oh man, Baker, look at all his tackles, and he ends up being top three every season. Top three every season as a tackler, and I'm like, guys, I know he pisses me off when he does some of these, like I call them like this kind of tackles, where you're like, what did you do? Was it butter that you were holding on
yeah,
to? Because it's like, come on, man. But
yeah,
he's your play caller in defense. He's the glue
yeah.
that
Yes,
keeps everybody going. He's the one seeing it where he can go ahead and get that max look where when they make their audible and when they're making the shifts or anything like that, he's able to call it out and really maximize the defense we have on the field. But having to me, I think that's a huge blow. That I don't think
yeah,
maybe perhaps people realize how huge of a blow it is. Even though I get it, trust me, I hear it all the time with Baker, man. He
yeah.
can really get some people like with his tackling.
Yeah,
Oh
fans.
man.
I forgot to mention, Jalen Phillips. His injury that was pretty tough. And then when I saw it on Hard Knocks, it was even more tougher because it took me back to when
Right?
you never want to see that happen to a teammate. And that was, I think, if anybody watched the episode, whether they was a Dolphin fan or not, you feel for the young man because I think people know what he's battled in college, switching this and that, coming
Hmm.
back, you know, and I think he's one of the hardest workers on the team. And then, so when that happened, and I also got to give a shout out to Ginkle, AVG, man. I mean, this guy moves all over the field. I mean, if you told him to play nose guard, or if you told him to play safety corner, he'd move out there in some kind of way. He would make it happen. He's just that versatile player. And I'm being a little funny there, but you can plug a guy multiple
Do
positions
it.
at the drop of a dime, and he's still giving you that type of production. You gotta love a guy like that. See, they don't have to be
Yeah,
the
he's
most talented, but he gives it to you, man, and he makes it happen. He's a natural football guy. He's just, man. That's the way I explain it. So yeah, those I did get those two guys, but yeah, um, that was
yeah. No,
yeah,
I agree, man. Watching that episode 2 of Hard Knocks, and you could hear him like, man, but I
yeah,
was having a career year, like Phillips was
yeah,
like, you could hear the pain was more of a disappointment. Like, man,
yeah,
we were finally getting clicking. Like I told people, I
yeah,
know you said it takes like 4 or 5 weeks. I actually gave them like 6 to 8 weeks to kind of
yeah,
gel together with this with the new defense, and you can hear his pain. Not even just it felt more like even physical. It was more like his
yeah,
heart. Like he was like, "Nah, man, I'm balling. Like what? Like how could this possibly happen? I'm
yeah.
finally balling. We're really gelling right now as a defense." And he just could like he couldn't believe it, and it was, man, that was a tearjerker. I'm not. I
Yeah,
was crying.
it was tough. Yeah, yeah,
Because you
that
see
was
the
a tough
passion.
one.
You see the passion. And then with Van
And-
Ginkel, I mean, you're right. Not every guy, like you said, is gonna be the most talented, but one thing you cannot be, you can have talent, but when you have the
Yep,
work ethic like Ginkel does,
yep,
that's where it shines. To your point of him being able to be placed in so many different positions, because of his work ethic, that's
yep.
what gives him the opportunity to be so successful. And man, oh man, I mean, I feel like he's even gotten better year over year, and I'm happy. I'm sign the man, Greer. That's
Yeah,
like
and
seriously, it's such a great player in my opinion. That yeah, I could totally see that happening. Now I gotta go to your area of expertise, man, the O line. Talk
mhm.
to me about the O line. What I know, the turntable that we've had this season. Compare it from last year to this year. You said that it's definitely, absolutely has improved. But talk to me. What have you
Mhm.
seen this season so far, even with all the changes, that you like the most about the O line, and what would you say is that you like the least?
Well, the most, and I got to give this man a shout out, Austin Jackson. Um, he's having a Pro Bowl, All Pro type season, and just with him coming here, I think we all knew the first couple of years. They had him in left tackle, and they moved him to right tackle, and even last year he came in and he was trying to play pretty good, and then he had the high ankle sprain, and then he got hurt. So I think the injury caused people to judge him versus really looking at his body of work, even though it was a short window. He was starting to come around last year, and I just said he just couldn't. The ankle just nagged him out last year, but for it to come together for him this year, put it all together and to play the way he played. I think we all knew coming out of college, out of USC, he was very athletic. The thing that I'm not gonna say concerned me was that he was like 20 years old, which is very young. And
Ooh,
so I figured he needed a little bit more experience, but um, man, it's amazing what a few years make. And this young man has transitioned to one of the best tackles in the NFL, and I'm truly happy for him. And I know the fan base is happy for him because, man, people used to ride out on Austin Jackson on social media and stuff like that, and at
seriously,
times it was hard. It was hard to defend him, but
dust. Yeah,
it's people quick to label you, and but that's the one thing I think we had as far as tackles. We had two tandem with him and Armstead, two of the best in the league. When you put package those two together, he's had some little negatives with a couple games come back. So I'm hoping we get Teron back pretty soon. Like it's Connor early in the year, came back, and then here towards ACL this last game. So I got rolled up from behind and let he control. So you just feel for a player like that because he's playing well, and it was a contract year, and you're looking to get rewarded for your work, and then you get an injury, and sometimes that can affect the numbers. So I feel for him. And then you have Robert Hunt, and then I'm missing not Cotton. It's
What about
early.
Liam Eichenberg? What about Liam?
You
Talk
know
to me
what?
about Liam.
I'm gonna tell you this about Liam Eichenberg, and I don't think center he does okay, but it seemed like he has problems with snapping the ball with his under center, or even if I call it the shotgun with he's back off the line or whatever. But I thought he played a couple of games at guard. He didn't look bad, but center, I don't know if that's the position for him. I think he's doing it because of the injury happened to Connor, but it seemed like we were getting a little bit more better production out of him at guard and center. So that's vital, being able to get the ball back there to the quarterback, a clean exchange on the snap count and stuff like that. That affects the time and the rhythm and everything. So we definitely got to get that cleaned up. And right now he's the option because Connor is gone for the season. And I'm hoping they sign a couple of linemen to get them acclimated and start, working them in. Because, like you said, anybody can go down at any given time, week or whatever. And we've lost a couple, and we need to, strengthen it up. That's the only spot where I think we're really on thin ice. That we lose another guy here or there, we could really be in trouble. So that's my biggest concern.
Okay. Oh, well, I mean, I have to agree. The injury concerns, I mean, me personally, I don't give any excuses to any team because everybody has to deal with injuries. Everybody's got the same amount of players in their roster. So it's all about the next man up. And I feel like that's been the mentality for the Dolphins. So I want to keep that same
Mm-hmm.
energy with the team. But, one thing I will say is this is what I said with Tua when I had this realization over the off season this off season that the Dolphins are treating Tua and subsequently the young players in a way of like we're not gonna like old school 80s 90s players where we're gonna give them 2-3 years to develop before 3-4 years to develop before we actually go ahead and get rid of them, which is not what the NFL is right now. If you don't work out the first year, most players are being traded or just straight up cut.
Yeah,
But the Dolphins, they're managing this team and they're really trying to let their guys develop. And to your point, AJ Austin Jackson, you saw the
yeah,
progression. He got injured, and look at how he's playing a stud
yeah,
this season. You know what I mean? And even with
yeah.
Liam, I know he's had some issues, but even he has progressed. There was one
He
point where
has.
he played when he's played actually center for like 2 or 3 weeks, I think straight, he kept getting
Yeah,
better every week. So I just think giving him the opportunity to whichever position it ends up being, getting those
yeah.
reps, I feel like he can still go ahead and develop with that one. So I mean I'm glad to hear that. What's your opinion on Butch Berry so far and how he's worked on these players and how
Yeah.
he's managed the O line itself? What do you think over there? What would you
I,
grade
I,
him?
I give him an A. I think that was the concern of the fan base before the season even started because there were players that I think the fans thought that we should upgrade. Even with Austin Jackson and Eichenberg, people were like, "No, we need to get rid of them, go somewhere else." But for him to come in and you see the development, in the players, and you brought up a good point about the Dolphins starting to develop their players. And I look at even with Tua, I think what McDaniel saw was, I think with Tua, the system, the previous system, as far as the offensive system we was running, didn't really fit his skill set. You know what I'm saying? So when he came in, he saw what he could do and some of the stuff he could do to put Tua in a better position to maximize what he does really well. And I think that's when you are a really good coach, when you say, you don't try to plug a player in your system. You look at the player and say, okay, what's his strengths? What's his weaknesses? What are the things he does well? And then you try to, you focus on that and put him in the best position to win. But yeah, the offensive line coach has done it. I give him an A, especially with all the guys that have to move around, plug here, plug there. And then, to Eichenberg's defense, he was starting at guard, and then Connor Williams goes down, and so he has to move from guard to center. And like you said, the few weeks he played well, he had an opportunity to take snaps and reps at center. When you're starting at guard, he might have took a couple of reps at center, but the majority of reps he gets in practice at guard. So to make that transition in the middle of a game, not saying he can't do it, but normally the more reps you get, the better you, more
Mhm.
comfortable you feel and stuff like that. So that's a great point you brought up. And I think people don't really take that into consideration, because when you're starter, you get the majority of the reps during the offensive period, because you're going to be the guys that they're expecting to be out there playing. The backups get many physical reps. Most of their reps are mental. They'll get the reps when it's the defensive time to come up and run looks for the defense. So that's a good point you brought up.
Oh, thank you, thank you. I mean, it's just things you gotta analyze, as being a fan of this team and obviously being a content creator. There's things that maybe some people might not see, but taking the time to really evaluate this team, you get to pick up some of those points here, so here and there. So I like that, and I like your grade for Butch Berry. I have to agree with you, man. A for Butch Berry, in my opinion, because the fact that he's had to kind of manage, and kind of keep it afloat with the O line, they have progressed, in my opinion. Even the
Yeah.
backups, which to make those playoff punches, one thing I tell people is you have to have not just your starters be good, your backups have to be also good, but also have experience. And although some of our guys are young, or even if they're veterans, um our backups are getting experience in game. So when we make that push in the playoffs, they'll be able to go ahead. Anyone else goes down, boom, let's plug and play and add that person. So yeah, Butch Berry to me definitely one of the most influential coaches in my opinion here. So I like that. I like what you brought up with McDaniel too, as far as when it comes to Tua. Fitting your guys, their skill set. I think definitely something that has helped. So just to kind of transition, because I do I want to go ahead and ask overall before we get into it, because that's always a hot topic. What
Okay.
would you grade the O line over as a whole, the O line by itself? What would you grade the O line this year so far?
I give them, they started out really strong. I think they went, I hadn't checked the stats lately, but they're like in the top five overall when we first jumped
Hmm.
out. But I give them a, considering the injuries and stuff like that, which I know affects, I give them a B plus. I mean, I think when you have that type of adversity, or that type of rotation where you constantly don't have the same five, that's tough. And for these
Hmm.
guys to still be able to manage to go out and play and play consistent and play at a really high level, that's hats off to them, because typically you lose this many guys at different times, it definitely affects your win loss ratio. But they have managed a way to continue to get the job done. So I will be easy. I think they've done um, extremely well. And like you said, and then that's what we used to say, next man up. And uh, not saying that they're as good as the guy that was the starter, but for them to come in and transition and still have this offense be able to continue to roll and make plays. It's just hats off to him. So yeah, I give him a B plus easy because they performed extremely well considering the adversity they had this year. So I give him B plus easy.
I like that. I like that. And now I saw that we made some roster moves. We picked up and signed Jonathan Harrison to the active roster for the O
Okay.
line, and we also picked up, because obviously of Connor Williams, Matt
hmm
Skura as well to the practice squad. Any thoughts on those two gentlemen? And do you think we might make even some more additions in the O line prior to the playoffs?
I'm gonna say if we got those two are probably more interior guys, center guard. So that gives you some type of insurance. It gives them they put them on a practice squad to where they can kind of learn the offense just because um, you come in like this, you're under time constraint, but they're professionals. And the good thing is you don't have to learn the whole offensive system. Most of the time, you got to learn the game plan for the week, and then you continue to pick up stuff along the way. So um, once I think coach is going, he's going to get them ready. But I like that they did sign two guys that lets me know that they know that is a concern, and then where we at in the season, what we have left, and the opportunities we have in front of us. That's a great insurance policy. So hopefully those guys come in and can help solidify and keep what we've been doing well, keep that going. So yeah, I like that move. So you got that wave, you got that wire running over there. I see you look up at that
Hey
screen. What
man,
you got over
I
there?
gotta step up my game. I gotta give the fans, and I gotta come with you. With the good stuff. We gotta stay on top of this because it's
Yeah,
important. You know what I mean? Like it's just
yeah,
when you love the team, you want to make sure that you're on top of things. So I appreciate that. Thanks.
yeah. I see you over there, Phins. I see you.
Oh, and you know what? Going with that, one thing that I said, and I said this earlier, is that the quarterback helps the O line helps the quarterback, but the quarterback also helps the O line. One thing I've said
Yeah.
consistently every single year, Tua Tagovailoa has improved his pocket presence every single year. I feel like people don't really say that a lot, but if you take a look at it, he has, and you have to whenever you've had a low quality of O line play, you have to be able to manage um that pocket. And to me, he's excelled and improved every single year and developed that skill on his own as a starting quarterback. Where I go to the surfing aspect of it, being that the O line will work with him and he will work on the O line, and that's how they're able to be effective. But when it comes to Tua and that pocket itself, what have you seen so far, and how would you characterize his development in that particular skill set with the O line?
Well, yeah, like you said last year, people's biggest concern was he going to retire? The concussions and the concussions are serious. I get that, and I'm glad he made that decision with his family. But the thing I always try to tell fans is um, be careful of the analysts you listen to on TV because they can they get you all messed up. They're like, this guy needs to do this, do that, and I'm like, y'all hadn't read a medical report, this and that, and I get it. It looked really bad last year when we were playing the Bengals, and he had that concussion.
Ooh,
For people to
yeah.
see that live, I think that's what did it. I think some of the television analysts they'll go on and they'll project what their opinions versus saying, okay, yes, it looks and it did look bad. I'll never take that, but when you don't know the medical history and you're not a doctor and this and that you refer to the doctors, and that's a good thing because when I played, if you took a hard hit, they had the little special sauce ammonia caps. You hit that, and most of the time you can shake it off and get back in there. But sometimes you couldn't. But
Real football.
uh, it's just, you know, I'm happy he set it down. And I think, the jujitsu helped. But I think with two of the biggest thing was, and I think it's came his growth and development, is that you're not going to make every first down. Not going to do it. So sometimes you got to throw the ball away. Sometimes just get down. And I think he was trying so hard last year that he was trying to make every play, and with and that's why he took some of those hits. And sometimes you just got to get rid of the ball and get down because it's a game of possessions, it's field position, it's other things that you into. You're not going to score a touchdown. You're not going to make a field goal every chance. So I think he's got a better understanding of that. He's definitely matured, and he has a better grasp of the offense. And you can see from this year, I think they've added in a few more wrinkles and stuff that you see last year. So like you said, it's just that maturing, that development. But yeah, he's great, and I love the way he's very accountable. Whether it's his fault or not, he's willing to step up and take blame, and that's a true sign of a leader. And I can always appreciate that. If he doesn't play well, he'll be the first to tell you that I got to do better. But at times he'll take the blame even when it's not his blame. So, I love playing for guys like that. But yeah, we got a good quarterback.
I agree, man. Richmond, ladies and gentlemen, you see Richmond Webb watches Miss fans because I've told you this, that the one thing and one skill that quarterbacks have is knowing when to throw away the ball, and Tua was horrible at it. But
Yeah,
this year, he has learned how to throw away the ball and survive for the next. Now, I think that if he would have used that last year, we wouldn't be talking about
yeah,
him missing practically half the season, because he would have been
I
able to
agree.
protect himself and lived for the next play, for the next down. And that would be one of my biggest improvements into a skill set. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, a QB knowing when to throw away the ball is a skill set. They have to protect
Yeah,
themselves, protect their O line, and protect the play. You could always, it's always going to be another play. Just protect yourself so you can be available for your team. So I have to agree. Man, you hit on some great points when it comes to Tua and his development. Which kind of goes into what I said about the Dolphins, really giving him 3, 4, 5 years to develop, because we're not looking short term, we're looking long term. Back in the day, that's how it used to be when you developed a young quarterback.
yeah,
So I'm glad they're using that approach. And I see him second year in this offense, um, getting that grasp and really improving upon it. So that's good. I actually have. It's funny enough. I have to break this down, man. You're gonna have to help
break
me.
it down.
We were all
Come on,
mourning.
break it down. Come on with it. Come on with it.
We were
What you got?
all mourning this past game because there's no way we should have lost that game. Come on,
Yeah,
man. You know this. We all know this. The world knew this. Like, you're not a
yeah,
13.5 point favorite if you're not a good team. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
for me, it hurt. It
yeah.
hurt so much, seeing this. But let's break this down. The very last play, Richmond. I want to go ahead and break this puppy down because to me, let me put this properly so you guys can see it.
Okay.
To me, I want people to see something that I saw, and it was brought up on multiple sites. This is the very last play, ladies and gentlemen. This is how we end our offensive um, drive, if you will, where eventually Tua ends up taking the sack. But this is what I want to see. And talk to me. Talk to me. What do you see here
Hmm.
with the O line? The way that the O line is, the way that the players are. Obviously, he's got um, a receiver in each side, and he's got the running back on his hip. What do you see here? Because when you go to the next slide, the main guy that I wanted to highlight was Barrios. When the ball is
Okay.
snapped, by the way, and I did count, he had 3 seconds to throw that ball, by the way, before he got sacked. So it wasn't
Okay.
time, in my opinion. But looking at this, what are you seeing from Tua so far that you see that I noticed instantly? And look at the protection the O line is doing. Walk us through from what you're seeing here and the little lines that I've kind of, walked through here and kind of put in there so players can see, or well, fans can see. What do you notice the most? Because I want to see if you see what I saw.
Well, I think he's got pretty good protection. Look like he's only
Hmm.
looking at this is his only option over here. So it's either Tyreek or who is that on the outside? Watt.
On the
Was that
outside, I believe that's a running back. I think
HN
yeah, that's
or
our running back. I
okay,
think it
yeah,
was
yeah.
Mostert in that one. Yeah,
Okay, most yeah. It looked like that was option. I don't even think these guys over here were option. I think they were like decoys because it looked like he never really looks back this way. It looked like he's but yeah.
well, he
So
does for a brief second.
yeah, but it's
So
this
he
guy.
does for a brief second. This is and obviously,
Well, this guy's open.
go ahead, go ahead.
The guy on the P is open. Um, it looked like he's looking back over here at is this tight end over here? The D outside the yellow box at the
That's
bottom
Barrios.
left.
So that's Barrios
That's
right there.
Barrios.
The one in the box is Barrios. Hmm.
No. Bottom left, bottom left. Like right in front of the D. Who is that? Number 81? Is that 81? I ain't got my glasses on.
Oh, the bottom left, that's Mostert. Sorry, that's Mostert. So Mostert is at
That's
the bottom left, right at the goal line. Barrios is in the box.
no.
Sorry, it's in the other side. He's
You
the
gotta
other
come all
guy
the way
in
to
the
the
end zone.
that's most by the hash mark, right? And then mostly right there at the goal line,
Hold on.
right by
I want to make
was this
sure.
right here at the bottom.
Mostert is at the goal line. The tight end, yeah, that looks like it's Smythe.
Okay, that's the
Smythe,
tight. Yeah,
Smythe
that's my yeah,
is at the
yeah,
very
yeah,
bottom.
yeah, yeah. Um, was this okay? Give me the down and distance on this. What was it? Third down, fourth down.
So this is the fourth down. This is the fourth down. This is it. It's the literal last offensive play that we have. So let me see if
Uh,
I go through all of it, and then maybe you can see what I saw. Cause let me start at the beginning. So this is how the play
okay,
started. Obviously, when we go to the
yeah.
very first slide, this is how the play starts. Okay, and then you see the O line. You're gonna see the protection
Hmm.
of the O line so far. I'm highlighting barriers because I think he was open. Some people said we had no other options available, but again, like I said, Tua had 3 seconds to throw the ball from snap. It looks like he's only looking at Tyreek the entire time. You still
I
see the
agree.
protection from the O line.
It's still
You see what
Tyreek.
I mean? He's still only Tyreek.
Yeah,
Now, I granted, I see Barrios, he's got three guys, but he's breaking off to his route right now. He's breaking
and,
off,
and
and Tua's still getting that pocket clean.
it looked like okay. That's not who's ever at the top. Looked like he was trying to run
Hmm.
big play and I think Tyreek was the option on this the way that he's locked in on. He's trying to let that develop and look like Tyreek was the guy that they were looking for because you see this guy. Can't see he's right like he's right inside of Tyreek, but he's right here on the goal line. He's just
Yep.
sitting. He looked like he's reading Tua's eyes and he's still out there. And now that guy comes off of the outside receiver, and if he throws it to Tyreek, he's probably not going to make it in there. So um, I think the way this play is designed is Tyreek was the only option. I don't think this was a progression where if this guy open, boom, boom. Normally he looks and then he moves, but he stayed to the right the whole time. And I think when that option wasn't there, um, and what people got to realize, you're on the goal line, so the defense should be a lot more aggressive, and it's not going to open up and develop because you just don't have no real estate to work. So normally you run a pick play or something to try to get a guy open and hit it, and yeah, it just wasn't there. So that's what I see. But the
Okay.
protection looked pretty good. Protection looks good for both
Okay.
parties.
But do you
Yeah,
still see protection?
yeah.
That's what this is why I wanted to ask you on this play because I'm looking at the protection and I wanted to see, okay, did it break down to the point that Tua had no time to throw the ball, And I played the video. I'm doing clips, guys, because the video, sometimes videos they don't play when you're doing the show. So I'm like, let me just get like frames of kind of like each step of this play. But I'm seeing the protection there, even at the very back where you see I have the yellow line in the back behind Tua where he's starting to make his move to kind of
Yeah.
move in the pocket. Um, he finally looks to his left, but to me, it's like there was still no, to your point,
He
he was
he
still
don't see
only
Barrios.
looking for that one option into
Yeah,
it.
he don't see Barrios in that. I can look, yeah, and then I think the thing that people got to realize is when it's live, because I have this issue when they show replays of say a foul of the basketball game, and then they slow it down. I'd be like, oh yeah, 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 that's a foul. But
They slow it down.
if you look at it at live speed, it's that you be like, I said, okay, because I got a buddy that referees, and we were talking about it. He said, I'm telling you, look at it live, it's different. And I was like, I looked at it, I said, you know what, you're right. But once they slow it down, it's almost like even when a guy's running a route and did he step out of bounds or did he do it, this, that, you see it live, you'd be like, did he? Are you sure? Would you would have pulled a flag? So I get it. But yeah, when it's live, it's so much faster and you're processing. And a lot of times it's hard to see that guy when it's like I say, everything is so tight. But it looked like this play was designed for Tyreek only going to the right, and I think that's what it was. That was his option. The other guys just ran routes to decoy. But when that broke down, the offensive line gave him a chance to try to take some other things, but he couldn't see it. Could look like Moses covered up. The tight ends covered up down here. The Titans played that defensively pretty well.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's why. And the main reason why I wanted to highlight this play is because of the protection. You're no lineman. You've been in that
Hmm.
situation. So
Yeah.
you know the importance. Fourth quarter, last play of the offense. It's high pressure. You got a shot at making it happen. But as far as the protection, you would say that the
Protection
O
was
line
good.
did their job.
Yeah. I would. Yes, I would.
Okay.
Mhm.
Now I know. Well, listen, guys. Even Tua has admitted, which sometimes he can't see over the O line because those are some tall guys. Guys, Tua is still 6'1", so he's not a short quarterback. He might not be 6'6", but he's still 6'1",
Yeah.
so he can still see. You know what I mean? But with this particular, my apologies. It's not the. It's You're right. It's not the last play because on the last play he did take a sack, but this wasn't the last play one. It was just one of the plays where I saw, man, we had such an opportunity in the red zone, we weren't able to capitalize. And this one right here, to me, I was like, I really wanted to see, since you were coming on, was the O line did the O line break down, faster than what we're normally accustomed to? So you would say no, the O line still provided him
Mm-mm, no,
good
he's
protection.
everybody's right here in front of him, and this guy got ran around. So no, he's it's not like he's under duress to force something. He still got time to. That's why he was able to check a few other. It's just, nobody was really open, or he couldn't really see like Barrios, back there in the end zone. But yeah, I thought they did a pretty good job on this play here.
Okay, awesome. Well, oops, let me. There you
You
go.
brought me back,
So
huh?
awesome. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad at least. Yeah. Yeah. I was trying to. I was trying to get that off the actual show here. Sorry. Let me remove that
Do
puppy
your
from it
thing.
so it
Do your
actually allow
thing.
me to
Yeah,
do it. We're live. It's like this is what
we're
happens when you
alive.
got a
We're
live
back.
show. Exactly. And we're back after these short messages. But listen, I don't want to. Oh my gosh, we went a little bit over because I really wanted to break that down as an O lineman with you. If you allow me to, I want to get some of the questions answered by you. If we can do a quick Q&A session,
Yeah,
because I
come on
think it
with
would
it.
be great to get your idea. So I've been trying to look at the chat for any particular
Okay.
questions. So let me start out with this. Shout out to Chef Jew, man, friend of the family, friend like phenomenal human being right here. He
Oh
says,
yeah,
Miss
I know
Fins, your
Chef.
question.
Yeah, you know
Yeah,
Chef Jew
exactly.
got married that when I was in
I
East
was there
Village.
that day. I was one of the camera people for him.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, it's good
So
because
yeah, so he says this question's for you and Mr. Richmond Webb. Where do y'all see our Dolphins being placed in the playoffs after we win out?
okay. So if we went out, we'd be what 13-4, right?
Yes, we would be 13-4.
And that would mean that at worst case scenario, Ravens will be 13-4. So I don't know how many conference or division losses they got. It's the same record, but it depends on who got the most losses in the AFC. If we have more AFC losses, we would be two. They would be one, or vice versa. If we went out, but and if it's a tiebreaker, we would win it
Well,
because
we'd
we
be
beat them
beating them.
head to head. Yeah, but then then I think it comes down to
Exactly.
the AFC losses. But yeah, so one or two based on Chef Chu's question. No lower than two if we win out. Yeah,
I like that. I like that.
great
He had
question.
a second question. He said, Miss Fins, do y'all feel that Greer will try to sign an O lineman just in time for the playoffs to make a deep run? I mean, I feel like I kind of answered that with the roster moves they
He did.
made, but do you think we'll add
Yeah.
any extra ones on top of that?
Unless they know something that they don't feel they're gonna get one of the starters back, um, like Toronto instead or something. I think two were good, but I haven't heard anything where there's other guys that we've lost for the season. So I think right now they're gonna see how that goes, and if they need to add another one, they will. But I think right now we're good with two.
All right. Awesome. Awesome. Man Chill says, I want to know how you feel about Tua and McDaniel. So, what's your opinion so far, Tua? I know you kind of mentioned a little bit on both, but anything specific that you want to mention on those two, being year two as
No,
we move?
yeah, I like the way that McDaniel interacts with. I think he truly, genuinely cares for his players. I think the atmosphere that he's created for players on the work, this and that, is really good. And I think when they come to work, they come to work. So it's not like they just kind of just go through the motions. But I think the expectations are there, and I think everybody kind of holds each other accountable. And it seems like this is a really close knit team for the most part. Just seeing how they kind of interact on Hard Knocks, that's a good thing. When I first heard they were going to be on Hard Knocks, I was like, normally during the preseason, but I'm like the season. I'm like, man, I don't. I was just thinking about myself. I don't know if I want to be in front of camera because this is the time we trying to put stuff together, but it's actually been entertaining, and they've done a good job with it. But we get this one out the way, then they can go mess with somebody else. But it gives you a look at the team and some of the interactions and stuff, and so that's good. So seem like they're really close. But I love both of them. I think we got a great coach and we got a great quarterback.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, we've got Cap for Life. He says, Richmond, thoughts on Butchberry and losing four starting O linemen in December?
Yeah, Coach Barry's done a tremendous job. They're fun at all to lose four, and then, like you say, lose your starting center. I think with a couple of those guys will get back. I think the thing that hats off to Chris Greer, knowing seeing that there's a possible need, knowing that where we're still positioned for having an opportunity to make the playoffs and finish strong, go out and provide those insurance policy and signing guys like he did. So um, for him to lose as many, and then for the offensive line to continue to perform the way they have. They had a few more sacks, but I don't think all of them were on the offensive line. I think a couple of them were coverage sacks or whatever. So I think he's done a tremendous job, and hats off to him. So yeah, Coach Barry's done a good job.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I have to agree. He did phenomenal. We have color commentary. He says, Miss Fields, how realistic is it to expect continuity on O line when bringing in free agents this deep in the season? This question is to you, so go ahead. What do you think so far?
I mean, I think you gotta do it, and the way for me that I got continuity and it's communication. And I would tell guys, I'm like, look, I need you to communicate with me. I need to know what you're thinking. I need to know what we're doing on this play. Even if it's wrong, I'll take the blame for it. But I just need to know what you're doing. Because if I'm thinking you're going right, if I think you're supposed to be going left and you're going right, somebody can get hurt real bad. So I say, even if we mess it up, I say we mess it up together. But at least I know what you're doing. I say when we get to the sideline, don't worry about it. I'll take the heat. And I think when guys know that, it takes pressure off them, especially if they're young, a young guy that's coming in, because they're saying if I mess up, I can be out of here as quick as I got here. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I
Hmm.
just got this job, I want to keep it. And so that's one of the ways I was like, look, just you got to trust me on this. If it go bad, don't worry about it. I got you, this and that. And for the most part that worked. But as long as two people know what they're thinking, because if I say, what you got, Miss Phins, and you say, hey, I'm going right. And I'm like, okay, we're going right. You know what I'm saying? Or if I know you not, I said, you got to go this way. That's the only way. But if you're sitting there, I'm not talking to Miss Phins, you ain't talking to me, and then we're blowing, then we get to you get the quarterback hurt or something, then we looking side eye where he was supposed to do this. No, we're gonna eliminate the finger pointing. We're gonna get this thing out, and we're gonna do it. And that's communication is key in anything in me, and not only in football and everything, so everybody gets to understand it. So yeah.
I like that. Uh, a little. I guess this is a very interesting question. Massachusetts says, asking, can Tua lead us to a Super Bowl? In your opinion?
Tua can, but Tua can't do it by himself. And the only thing sometimes that it's the narrative that's put out there with quarterbacks. When quarterbacks win, they win the game. If they lose, they lose the game. But it's a team game. So yes, to answer your question, but it's the narrative this time the media and stuff put out there. And I understand that those are the guys, the marketing tools. I get that, but I tell people, man, everybody has played well. If Tua's playing well, the receiver's not catching the ball, or Tua's playing well, the offensive line's not blocking, Tua playing well, the running backs or fumbling the ball. These are just examples that's out of his control. But then if it's a big matchup, they can say, well, I'll say like Joe Burrow beat Tua, Tua beat Joe Burrow, and it's other factors that possibly could have caused the outcome game. But either they get the credit for it or they get the blame for it. So I always try
But
to,
they get the
I listen
money,
to
they get
well,
the
post, yeah,
girl, so they get
it's
the
been
love
that
and they
way
get the
since
hate. That's
okay, it's been that way since high school.
exactly
It just you play the
exactly.
position. It's just I ain't mad at you. Do your
Hmm.
thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Michelle asked, Miss Finn, I'd like to know Richmond's opinion on Tua's play at the end of the season. So, where do you, I guess, project Tua's play to be at the end of the season?
Yeah, I think he's playing at a high level. I think this was a game like this past game, and I'll just say this because I think that's where a lot of people are going. We had an opportunity to win this last game, but if you look at the game, we didn't play well offensively or defensively. So this was a game that really was a gift to us that we should have found a way to pull it out and kind of get over it, but we gave it right back at the end. But for the most part, they're playing pretty consistent, and I expect us to bounce back. I don't know how bad Tyreek is and this and that, but
Okay.
some of the other receivers and stuff gonna have to step up and fill that void because he's a huge piece of the offense. But I think we got players that we can utilize to compensate for what his production was in the game. We got some ballers at wide receiver, so we just gotta reshift it a little bit. Yeah.
We do. We do. A couple more questions, guys, because he's really got to roll, and I don't want to take up too much more of your time. But Pamela does ask, Richmond, can you explain what the mindset of the team would be going into a game like this, like Tennessee? Do you think they overlooked the team in this game?
I don't say overlooked. And the reason I know is I've been in games like this, games that you should win, and then you end up losing. And the one that sticks out in my head when I played is it was late '90s. I know that, but we were playing the Jets. We were playing the Jets in New York. It was a Monday night game, and I want to say we went up like 35 nothing at halftime, or 35 something like that, and we ended up losing that game. The second half, we just stalled out or whatever. But it just seemed like from the start, I think was the first thing happened. X went down. I mean, he got back up, but he hurt. Then we went out there offensively, and then I think Jalen Waddle got shook up a little bit. Then he got up. Then we went down a little bit further, and then was that when Connor Williams got hurt? I can't remember. But it was like one thing after
It,
another, and I was like, man,
oh yeah, and
that
then you had
when
Deshaun
we had the bad
Elliott.
snap,
You know,
it was like, man, it. You know, I don't want to speak that, but it was just, man, this game just feels different, and we was fighting, and then they made the two turnovers, and we come well, side picked it off or whatever, ran it in. It was like, man, if we could swing the momentum, but it was like we never could get enough momentum to swing back to wake everybody up. It was just this game just felt different to me, and I was like, "Come on, man, we can get through it. If we can just get through it, if we could have just got through that game." And then what was it? Even the penalty by Chubb. I mean, how often does he do something like that? Take your helmet off and slam it because that drive was over, and then
mhm.
you give them a first down and give them a chance to convert and tie the game. So it was like it was just one of those games that just seemed like things were out of sync. That's the best way I can put it.
I agree. This is a personal one for you. Have you ever considered being a coach in the NFL, man? I mean, I think you'd make a
I,
good coach. So,
you know what? I haven't. Um, uh, the only thing I thought, and I'll tell you the reason why. I don't like to move. So, and with coaching, you could be in a place 10 years, or you could be there 2 years, or you could be there a year. And so that's the part I don't like. I did at one point. Um, I had thought about becoming a college scout, and
ooh,
uh, this is when Brian Wiedemeyer used to be the president of the Dolphins, but he had went to Cleveland, so he was up there with Mike Holmes. So I knew a lot of the staff because it was half of the people were Dolphin people, and half of them that came from I think maybe Seattle with Coach Holmes. So uh, I went up there, and Brian Cox was D line coach, and Brian, he's just amazing. So he said, "Hey man, I'm gonna tell you this." He said, and Brian is just straightforward. That's what I love about him because he loves to tell you the truth. But he said, "Hey, I'm gonna tell you something." He said, "If you decide to do this," he said, "if you make a recommendation and they don't take it," he said, "don't take it personal." He said, "All the stuff that you did on the field," he said, "that don't matter." He said, "You got to prove yourself over again because you've never done this." So he was telling me how to approach it. I said, "Okay." And so went through it, and then Tom Hecker Jr., which was he with the Dolphins, then he went to the Eagles, and then from the Eagles he went to the Browns, and I was like, okay, so they show me around doing this, and then I go meet with Mike Holmgren and Brian Wiedemeyer, and I know the story is a little long, but anyway, Mike Holmgren
oh
pulls me
no,
off.
it's
He
your
said,
time, so you take as long as you want.
so he pulls me off. He said, "Yeah, he said, man, if you want to do something in this NFL, the way you carry yourself, type of career, you can do that." But he said, "Let me ask you a question." He said, "Are you married?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Are you happily married?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Well, this is what I suggest." He said, "If you want to do scouting," he said, "I would suggest you do pro scouting, he said the good thing about pro scouting is, he said, the hours are long. He said, but you live in that city, so I would have had to move to Cleveland back then. And then he said, but you
Mm.
get to go home at night. And so he said, but if you college scouting, he said, basically, you here Monday, you here Tuesday, you here Wednesday. He said, by Friday, you might come home, you wash your clothes, and then you right back out the door. And I was like, I, I didn't want to move to Cleveland because it get cold. Cleveland gets cold in Cincinnati.
Yes,
You know, I
it
played there a
is.
couple years.
Yes, it is.
And then, OJ McDuffie from Cleveland. Some great spots up there
Mm.
in the summertime, not in the wintertime. And
Mm.
so I came home, and my girls were still young. And I said, I wanted to spend time, kind of see
Mm.
them. And I said, no, I just didn't do it. But never thought about coaching, but I did think about scouting. But yeah, it's a great question.
Oh man, that was such a great question. I wanna kind of leave it there because more you focus. They obviously. I got another one. Like, what do you think of Tyreek? Where would you? I'm not Tyreek. Sorry. Where would you rank Tua? In the quarterbacks. Amongst quarterbacks, if you want to tackle this one, I'm gonna leave this one as last. But that was a
He's
phenomenal
our court.
question, by the way.
Yeah,
Right too, man.
yeah. I think he's in the top echelon. Ranking him. I don't know. I think he's one of the best in the league right now. I think the way Coach McDaniel's came in,
Easily
and
top 10.
is, yeah, easily top 10. So we got some good young ones. There's some good ones out there, but we got one of
Mhm.
the best ones. So like you said, easily top 10. And I'm riding with Tua. So for me, he's our number one, like the number he wears. But for everybody else, they got their pick. But yeah, easily top 10.
Mhm. Exactly. Well, ladies and gentlemen, listen, literal living legend, ladies and gentlemen, in Richmond Webb, future Hall of Famer, guys. We got to do it. We did a large campaign for Zach Thomas. He finally got in. Now we have to go ahead and do the campaign for Richmond. He deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. We know that he's in the Hall of Fame in our hearts, man, and a hack of an O lineman. So you definitely know that this is gonna be something that we're all gonna cry when you get there. You know what I mean? So, but seriously, Richmond, any last words? Anything else of encouragement that you want to tell the fan base before we go? Because I know they're loving seeing you and having this connection with you today.
Yeah, I think I think we're kind of in line with the same things. I think when you started the show, you said, you know, we're family. That's the way I approach it. So even if we have a disagreement, let's be respectful of each other. We don't have to see things the same way, but we're part of the Dolphin family. So since we family, I should be able to say, well, I hear what you're saying. I don't agree with it, but at the end of the day, we still should be respectful because we family. And I love you put that at the beginning of your show. And that's something for the most time on Twitter is pretty good with me. But I know if I go in some of those Dolphin groups or whatever,
I
man, they
know.
ride those Twitter spaces. They ride, they ride out. They talk bad to each other. And I'm like,
Oh my
I'll jump in.
gosh.
I say, well, let me just jump back out. Like, man, we family. We don't have to agree on everything, and it goes bigger than that. Even in politics, everybody not going to agree, but just let's have a conversation. Let's be respectful, and that's how I try to treat people like I want to be treated. And if we do that, things are a whole lot better. Keep it
I agree,
clean.
man.
Thanks. I
What a
see you, Miss
great public
Fan.
service announcement, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, keep it clean. That's what I say because I know for a fact that's the whole aspect of this show and this channel is it's family oriented. I want everybody to feel comfortable in coming in, voicing your opinion. And no, I may not agree with you. You may not agree with me, but we can still be respectful with each other. That's why I say
That's it.
argue the point, not the person, and be kind to
That's
each
it.
other because
That's
we
it.
never know what that person is dealing with in real life. So I appreciate that, man. Your kind words. Awesome. Richmond again. I can't wait. We're going to bring you back later on, hopefully again. But thank you so much for taking this time, for being here. As always, fins up, sir. And Hall of Fame,
Yes,
let's
sir.
go.
That's it. That's it.
Take
Well,
care and
y'all, y'all have a
have a
great day.
wonderful
Thanks for
day.
and tell your mom and everybody that say hello. Tell mom hello.
I will. I will. Oh my gosh, she absolutely loved it. She was like, "Oh, he's so good." I'm like, "I know, Mom. You see, this is like, oh, he's a real player." Like, she loved meeting you. So,
Mm.
thank you so much, Richard. Take
Okay.
care.
All right. Bye
Goodbye.
bye.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, our very own Richmond Webb. Oh my God, he is so amazing. What a gentle giant, ladies and gentlemen. A literal gentle giant. Um, so disruptive when he played. That's all I gotta say. But my gosh, so much joy talking to him. It's such an honor. I know last year when I first interviewed him, guys, I was freaking out. I was like, oh my god, he's a real player. Like, do I even have questions? Like, am I prepared? Am I ready? Am I sweating? Like, it was so scary because it's a real player. This guy knows. This guy knows what it is to be in the NFL and play and kind of go through all of that. So it's so crazy, to like have an opportunity to talk to a player like that. And yeah, I mean, it was such a great opportunity to have him. And he said 30 to 45 minutes, guys. He ended up being here for like an hour. So very grateful for him and being here with the fans. And like I said, we continue to grow and continue to bring more awesome stuff for you guys. So if you're brand new to the channel and you want to go ahead and support the channel, you can do it, and it's 100% free. Hit that like button, ladies and gentlemen, and subscribe if you're brand new. I really appreciate it, man. What a phenomenal interview. Shout out again to Mr. Richmond Webb. And thank you so much for him and his time. My gosh, he's phenomenal. But guys, thank you for your great questions. Thank you. I know we couldn't answer some because he already had answered some of them while we were doing the interview. But thank you for your time. Thank you for coming through. If you're catching the replay, thank you so much. Leave a comment. What you thought was his best answer in your opinion. Because I got some great gems myself from him. But thank you guys for coming through. And I will catch you guys tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. For you already know this, it's going to be our game preview. Yes, we will be previewing the game tomorrow, which I probably should have asked him about what he thinks, how we're gonna do this week. But I really wanted to keep it so far up to this point. His thoughts on the team, and man, he didn't disappoint. I'll tell you this, he did not disappoint, and I just loved his openness and his ability to really give us that insight. To me was awesome. Like it really was. So thank you so much for coming through again tomorrow, 8 a.m. Eastern, ladies and gentlemen. You're gonna catch Miss Fans, obviously, enjoying ourselves and enjoying the ride. So thank you so much. Come check out the game preview tomorrow as we have it here. So thank you, everybody. Um, Again, shout out to all of our members to the channel. Much appreciated. Also, too, if you can do me a favor, let's support those who do support the channel, like Mr. Chef Jew and Chef Jew's Catering. Looking for a great chef to cater your next birthday, business, office party, and more with mouthwatering cookies, cake, spice, and more. And go ahead and call Chef Jew at 786-804-8096. That's 786-804-8096 or via Facebook Messenger or Instagram at Chef Jew. That's Chef Jew, J-U Cater. For more information and mention Phins to get 10% off your catering order, ladies and gentlemen. Again, this was Miss Phins. Shout out to all of our members of the channel. And thank you so much, Mr. Richmond Webb. I can't wait to have you again here. So long, guys. See you tomorrow morning. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care and bye-bye.